You heard about this Little Mermaid, the Ariel? She's gonna be a black girl. We spoke about that a while ago. Okay. Yeah. Basically, if you aren't aware, Ariel, Little Mermaid, the live action, they're gonna have what was it? Chloe Berry. What's her name? Okay, doesn't matter. She's a young black woman, very good singer, talented, cool. She's gonna be Ariel. It's no longer gonna be a white redhead. So somebody posted this online. I thought it was very interesting. Artificial intelligence scientist, all right, has decided to fix a Little Mermaid and turn the woke actor into a ginger white girl. Basically going from Chloe to a white girl with red hair. He says he can do the fix for the whole movie when it comes out in 24 hours. And then afterwards, he posts like an image. Look what he did. You see this? From this to this. This is using artificial intelligence and like just...
Okay, but why did they do that?
Because a lot of people are mad that Ariel's now going to be a black woman. Okay. They want it to stay white. And then he says for Twitter, this is purely for educational purposes. Please do not misinterpret this in a racist way. I'm just amazed by high IQ friend who works with artificial intelligence and the stuff he can make. I want to show people his field of study. Okay, so there's two parts of this. Okay? There's a first part, which is the change, is it racist? And the second part, which is our thoughts about the whole Ariel changing, which we kind of touched on first. So, okay. I don't think you can really separate the two. Someone told me this recently. I never really thought about it, but a bunch of gingers were hitting me up like, bruv, we don't get represented enough. I was like, what you talking about? It's like gingers represented on TV and movies is not a thing. So Ariel was like the one person that we had. You disagree?
I'm thinking.
Okay. And look, I rag on gingers. You guys know me. There's no beautiful ginger people out there. Yada, yada, yada. Okay? Speaking of which, remember I said there's no beautiful ginger people out there? Mm-hmm. Well, it's a bunch of gingers disagreed.
Of course. They sent you nudes?
And all they did was reinforce my opinion.
They sent you pictures?
No, I looked at their pictures. They had a profile. I was like, yeah, I agree with what I said. And this guy had a video on us.
I am disheartened, angry, and quite frankly disappointed. This morning, I logged into youtube.com and decided to watch a video by my favorite comfort creators, Abba and Preach. And in that video, Abba said this.
I'm gonna go with contestant 3. I don't really know my reason. I just think number 3 first.
I would have kept her.
There are no beautiful ginger people.
Trolling. He's trolling. He's trolling. That's the best troll ever. He's trolling.
There are no beautiful ginger people. Those words, they tore my heart in half.
Shout outs to you, my dude. That's funny as fuck. That was funny as hell.
Listen, as a mediocre average person, listen, I can relate. Don't worry. It's okay. All you gingers, come on, get a big group hug. At least I think you have a soul, which is all that really matters, because Jesus will give you salvation. As a born-again Christian, that's all I care about. Not how ugly you are on the outside, but how beautiful you can be on the inside. That's it. So
Shout out to you, my dude.
On the topic of, so they were telling me about ginger representation, and it is an interesting thing. And my stance on this is the same one I had when we talked about this 3 years ago, which is I'm not mad at the idea of representation. I'm not mad at the idea that it's kind of cool to have Disney characters of all races, walks of life. I just don't like it when it's forced. And I think it's kind of corny to take fairy tales with one race and then just switch them when they have such a not historical, but like there's already a history built with the fans and the viewers and how they view it. It's the same way, like, if I read Harry Potter, and Harry Potter's always been described as a white dude with freckles and a fucking scar on his face and all this stuff, and you change the race for the live adaptation, I'm gonna look at you funny. That's it. I prefer it if you want to create this whole idea of representation to just create stories that have black bases as characters, right? Nobody got mad when they looked at the Black Panther stuff and they saw nothing but black folks. Nobody got mad when they did a bunch of other live action movies and had black people as leads, because that's how the stories were originally written. And it doesn't have to be stereotypically black either. They could be characters who happen to be black, and it's not because like they speak with Ebonics or whatever. They can just be regular too. So I'm not against that. I just don't like the retelling of old stories with like race swaps or gender swaps. It's like same thing with like superheroes all of a sudden changing genders. I find that shit kind of corny and forced. So my preference...
And people don't like that either.
Most people don't like that. My preference is tell great stories, stories that have always been black, and that always, if that was at the center of it, and show that to the young generation so that they can see themselves in it. I'm all for that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. It's maybe because the time we grew up in, we had Fresh Prince, we had the Jamie Foxx show, we had the Bill Cosby show. We had such an array of different accents and ways of talking and moving that I got to see a little bit of ourselves represented in a lot of media in that regard, to some degree. I wouldn't have liked it if they redid Friends and stuck a bunch of black people.
Exactly.
That would have been corny to me.
It would have been corny if they did that to anything. Like Full House was Full House. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah. And Full House was apparently all white people. You know, I don't want to see... I saw Full House. I don't want to see a house full of niggas.
Dude, that was foul, bro. That was foul, bro. That was foul. That was foul. Uncle Ruckus rose from the grave for that bitch.
I just want to see original.
We don't want no house full of niggas.
Over there. I want to see original stories. I don't want to see a black James Bond. I saw The Harder They Fall with Lakeith Stanfield. The movie was made by the Bullets. It's still on Netflix. I thought that shit was dope.
It was about cowboys, right?
It was cowboys. It was a black cast. It was good people and bad people, both black, and it was an original story.
I really do think that the point that the Gingers made to me about ginger representation was facts. It was facts.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought about it because you don't really think about ginger people as being, like, different.
Yeah.
But they are.
They had Ariel and they had that princess from Brave. That's what they had.
What's Brave?
Brave is a princess.
Exactly. What's Brave?
Yeah, we don't watch movies like that anyways.
They probably don't know it either. A lot of these people don't know it. I'm just saying, if you think about it, if like genders feel that different, for them this was their thing and they got erased.
I can understand.
That was a fact. And so
I can understand that, but that's what I'm saying.
I'll say this. Do I believe that the scientist did this because he felt like gingers were being... No, I don't think so. I think people saw the race swap and they got mad. So could you see that as being... Maybe. You can certainly make the case, and I wouldn't fight you on it one way or the other.
I'm not fighting that.
But considering the fact that like ginger representation's a thing and you guys just swapping these things, I can understand why some people are bothered by it. You can't make the argument like, oh, well, it's just a fictionist character. Why would it matter? And then also say, well, black people feel represented. Obviously, it does matter. You can't have it both ways. You can't say it doesn't matter. It's a fictionist character and then also justify the reason why the race swap happened to begin with. And also, let's not pretend, please, just for me and you, let's not pretend that when they did this casting, they didn't set themselves on, we're going to hire a black person for this specific. Obviously, they did. And they've been doing this a lot. This is a concerted movement to have a certain number. Here's something that you guys may not know. Nowadays, when they do sets for shows, this is for comedy. How about for comedy? They had something called, they had a comedy show here. I'm not going to say what it is. They asked me to do it. I said, no, I don't want to do it. This is like on a big festival. Come to find out, the lineup comes, and some of my white comic friends tell me, it's like, yeah, we weren't even allowed to apply. I'm like, why? They said, because we only wanted one white male for the whole 10 comic lineup, and we already booked them. Everyone else got to hit their quotas. These things do not happen on accident. This is not a meritocracy. It's like, it's a meritocracy by race. Do you understand what I'm saying? The best black profile for this show. No. So just know this is something that people are doing consciously. And so that changes it. And the only reason they would do it consciously is because they understand what it means. It's not just this arbitrary thing that they're doing for fun. It means something.
Oh, yeah, no, hold on. Last thing I want to say is that, last thing I want to say is like, it feels whenever they did all the reboots that they did and they do all the version that they do, and then after that they give the role to a black person. We did that. We said that already before, but we're saying it again. When they do that, it to me, after that, it feels like crumbs. That's what I was trying to say. It feels like crumbs. Like we're getting the played out leftover of something that was used and abused, and then after that we get our part. Whereas whenever you get an original story, we get the full meal.
Yes. I also say this. I don't just feel this way about race. I remember there was specific types of French movies that were made and then were brought to America and recasted with American accents.
Yeah.
Lost all the societal context that makes the humor and the Taxi's one. What was the one with Kevin Hart and the guy in the wheelchair? And there was well, the original one's amazing. The American version was disgusting.
Horrible.
But the reason why they make these casting changes is because they think this is what's going to work with the. But they lose all the artistry. They lose the heart of what the writer did when they created the whole thing.
And with that movie, they didn't even change the the gender.
No.
They didn't change the race.
They just changed the-
But they just changed the context, and they changed. It lost all its appeal.
Right, and art is already a difficult thing to make work perfectly. When you start only thinking about the commercial aspect, let's hire this actor because they've got a following on Twitter. Let's get this person because they're TikTok famous. You're killing the art. You're killing it. Right? And so when all these fucking execs are getting involved in these decision makings and everything is just about the bottom line and the dollar and none of it's based off of the skill to compensate for it, I start to look at them funny. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really like movies as much. I definitely don't like movies as much as I used to. And same for TV. It's too much of this like forced bullshit to just try to sell everything. Let's include a storyline about race. Let's include, you know what? Why don't you just make a story about a black character who doesn't have to revolve around the fact that they're black? Those are great too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not interested in having all this stuff forced. It made me think of that movie, Queen and Slim.
Queen and Slim.
Trash. That movie was A+ garbage.
You thought so?
Bruv, it might be the worst movie I've seen in the last decade. That's how bad it was. Everything was forced. Everything was just virtue signaling. Everything was just like, all right, this storyline and the way that white people view black Americans and the way that black and like trying to represent something symbolically rather than real organic storytelling. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm seeing more and more in movie where it's just like, how can we hit those political brownie points rather than telling a really well-developed story? So that's my gripe with it. Maybe y'all feel differently. Even this Marvel universe and this need to make 100 superhero movies a year. It's not because they're telling good stories and they're trying to tell these authentic superhero stories well. It's because they make money. They're doing the source material like no justice half the time.
What do you mean?
What you mean what I mean?
Megan Thee Stallion quirking with She-Hulk was not part of the movie?
Nick, I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not even.
What do you mean? It was not part of the movie?
Bro, what are we doing? What are we doing?
What do you mean? A lawyer twerking? You never seen that?
But yeah, let us know what you guys think. We want to hear from you.